mark up the charts. I need to go back in and like review like just entry points, but I see the Wyckoff and the sweeps and the retest and all that stuff. Now it's just getting comfortable, like basically. I guess I need because I got the imbalance in the order block mixed up in our conversation, but I believe the order block areas are the entries. But I had some questions about like when the order block is in, in a off of a red candle, does that mean something? If it's off of an up candle, does that mean something? You know, um,
Yeah, yeah. So I can actually dive into that right now. So essentially, any order block, which is that last buying candle or the last selling candle right here, for instance, this last selling candle before the impulse move up. So this is an order block right here. So this is essentially like the setup. Every order block is essentially the setup. If you look from the wick, so this low that swept it, this spring on the
mm-hmm,
Wyckoff, that's technically the same thing as this wick right there, right? Because the market can't move up before doing this. So this is essentially right
right,
here, yeah. And right now we're on the 12 month. So, you would see it like on the daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. So we can even go down there real quick. Let's go down to the weekly or the monthly first. Let's actually highlight that area so we can like focus on it. Let me see. What if the wick were to sweep the order block? That means that setup got violated, right? That means like
mm,
not every setup has to hold. You know, making higher highs and higher lows. You have a setup here, and this is the order block, and then we get that imbalance, boom, and then we have the down candle, that being the wick of the selling candle. We sell off and we sweep this candle. That's fine, and then price maybe gives you another setup here, boom, and this was a setup back here that held it up. But I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna go over it right now. This is that wick that we're talking about. Now we're looking like right here. Now we're in the monthly. Go down to the weekly. We're looking at that same area, that same like the lowest wick, which is essentially this. Go down to the daily. Getting closer and closer to this lowest wick. And then as we see, price does eventually like break above the highs, creating the setup. Probably see it best on the 4 hour. Right, this is still that lowest wick. And as soon as we break structure above, these highs here, we break structure above these highs up there, like that confirms that we want to switch from bearish to bullish, and then we just extend that to the right. And that was the original move of the 12-month candle, this being that wick. This was the start of the whole thing. It gave you a setup here. It gave you another setup over here. Boom, sweep, break above, retest, right? Confirming this one. And then it gave you more setups over here. And then price has just gone ever since. That was a clean play. Over 11,000 pips. And these lows also broke above these highs. So I hope that answered your question, Marcus, about the order block being an entry. Because again, this whole setup was off the 12-month order block
mm-hmm,
right there. And if you look at any order block on any time frame, you're gonna see the same thing. Right, this order block here was a setup as well.
order block is the last down candle before it takes off again? Or?
Yeah, the last down candle before it, breaks structure above the high of that last down candle. Same thing here. This last down candle before we break these highs. All right, we also break these highs. All right, the last down candle before the break. Let's see. This one here. These are my favorite because they just look like it just looks the most clean, right? This last down candle here before the move up. This one here before the move up. And there's different types of order blocks, like ones that are more confirmed. You have to really like break structure to give it to make it like an official order block. This one, boom. And if you zoom into each one of those order blocks, you're gonna find the setup from the 1 minute all the way to whatever time frame you're looking at it. So all right, this was that whole thing. Boom. And that's the monthly order block. Pretty much this whole area. This was a low. This was the high. Right there. Boom, that's the setup. And this was the sweeper. Or the stop loss right there. So when you go to the weekly, make sure this is visible in all the time frames. That should be the setup. That should be the setup. Boom. Textbook. Boom, boom. Sweep. Break above. Retest. Boom. Sniper entry would have been entering after we sweep these lows. We swept this liquidity. Boom. Sniper entry, no drawdown, less risk. You risk like 30 pips to make a good amount. 4,000. That's like a 1 to 100 or some shit. Super clean. And now we're just continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. We're continuing to break previous highs and we're retesting it right now. How do I get my trend line straight? Yeah, just hold shift. Hold shift to make it straight. Anytime you click on the tool, the trend line tool, and you start, trying to connect it from wicks, just hold on the shift and it allows you to keep it straight, either sideways or this way or straight up and down. Just depends on where you move the mouse. You got straight, diagonal, and then vertical. Boom. And then also, if you're on the Mac, if you click on any tool and hold command, and I think it's a similar button on the PC. I think it's like control or something, or it's one of those buttons on the side. But if you hold it, it actually tells you, it actually sticks to every wick or body of the candle. So you're not trying to like do it manually. So I can hover around it and then it just snaps to it. Yeah, you can do that too. You can do that. That works as well if you don't have that capability. But yeah. Yeah, definitely game changer. And you actually learn this when you go to, I believe it's here, keyboard shortcuts. And it tells you like on the chart, all the little, shortcuts you can do. Yeah, so I recommend going through this as well. You can save the image of the chart just by pressing a few keys. You can get the link. I use all these pretty much. But yeah, it helps. Definitely helps. And now We're looking at NAS. This is my Fibonacci right here. Right, this is the 50% in the middle, and then these two at the bottom. That's the 786, 886. Those are my settings. So if I look at this on NAS, from these lows to the highs, boom, we're a little bit beneath the 50%. So anything beneath the halfway mark is a discount. Anything beneath this 50% line, that's the discount area. Anything above is the premium area. So when you're buying, you want to buy in the discount zone, just for the, have the best prices. Sometimes it may not come down this low, and that's fine. Sometimes you may have to buy at a premium. If I see the setup in either area, I'm going to take it. If I see a setup up here, I'm going to take it. If I see it down here, I'm also going to take it. I don't know which or how far down price wants to go. If price wants to push up and then push here and continue, that's fine. And if I see the setup, I'll take it. If it wants to come lower, that's also fine. I'll take both. Boom. But as long as we see it, we should be good. And as of right now, we are in this discount area. So any buys that we get would be better anyway. Right? So when we go down to the smaller time frames, or the daily, we're looking at a setup here that's in the discount. Boom. Sweep, break above, retest. Boom. So we're literally inside the setup right there. And I'm going to draw the trend line here at these highs. That was the confirmation. And then we had to sweep this liquidity in order to break the highs. So I'm going to indicate that as well. And then I'm also going to mark up the stop loss, the lows. I'm going to remove the fib because we already know that we're in the discount area. And it's also around 20,800, which is the previous all-time highs. So that's another solid confirmation, because that's also a regular break and retest. This was resistance at one point. We couldn't do it, sold off, and then we finally broke above. Full body candle, and now we're here giving the retest inside of the discount range, right near a previous setup as well. So that's several confirmations back to back, loading up on top of each other. And also on top of that, we're still making higher highs and higher lows, because once we zoom out on the 12-month again, technically if you draw the fib from this low, this order block, that accumulation, all this to these highs, 50%, the discount is actually down here, which is fair because it's higher high, higher low, higher high. Technically, this can be a higher low. Anything above these lows would be a higher low. So all this is valid. We have this huge imbalance here. This would also give us a retest of these highs. So that's also on the table. I wouldn't completely cross it out. So that is a level that I'm going to mark it up. That's like what, 16.7? 16,700. That's a fair area. Boom. Go to the 1 month. Yeah, that's valid. Again, we had that break of structure. We retested it. Gone. So now, it's going down to the weekly. Make sure everything is clean. Got to keep the chart clean. Got to keep the chart clean. So yeah, this is the next buy zone for NAS. As price comes down here, all this is valid for buys from these highs that we broke. to this being the stop loss. I'm going to shorten this. Don't need to drag this out. I'm just putting this line here to indicate that these lows were swept. The main focus is going to be the highs that we broke and then the stop loss. So that whole box area, that's going to be valid for entries. And what you do, you're just essentially waiting for another confirmation inside of this area so we can take these trades with confidence and confirmation on the, and then go down to smaller time frames, see what else you see. We have some imbalance here as well. Imbalance. This is technically liquidity. These are technically lows as well. And I'm assuming all this, there's more setups in here as well. So I'm going to go down to the 4 hour. Boom. This was a 4 hour setup. We broke above these highs. Came back to retest that. Price did respect it. Flew. But we didn't break these highs. So it wasn't, these buys weren't strong enough to break these highs. Came back again. Same thing. Now the buys became weaker because these weren't even strong enough to break these highs, let alone these. And now we came back again, and as we see, we didn't really get much of a push this time. So to me, this means that maybe this setup here is maybe getting weaker. Technically, if you mark up the stop loss on this one, technically it's not violated yet, even though we did sweep. No full body candle did close on it, but that's fine. Technically, this is still valid. But then as you go down to the 1 hour, we do see that there's more setups back here. And looking at all this, I'm going to look for the first one. The first setup that I see, the original, which is this low, this high, sweep, break above, retest. So I like this original play right here. This was the start of it all. So I'm going to mark up these highs and this stop loss instead. That's going to be the base before we get to these lows down there. Boom. Yeah, this whole area is liquidity as well. This is going to be the lowest part though. The lowest part of the liquidity is here, which is this wick here. Sweeping these lows, violating this setup would bring us into these imbalances over here as well. But technically this is a buy zone. And it's pretty strong. And you can tell based off how we got this reaction here. No drawdown. Price immediately rejected this area. So let's see what happens once we come back in here. And I believe if I draw the trend line as well, or I like to use the ray tool. It makes you just connect 2 points and then it draws the rest of the trend line for you. I'm starting on this candle because this candle has the lowest body, right? This wick is longer, but the body is up here, right? This has the lowest body of all these candles. So I'm going to use this wick and then I'm going to connect it to the higher low right there. Boom. The reason why I chose this one is because we have a low, a high, a higher low, and this higher low created higher highs. So you have to connect these two here, boom, boom, and then it automatically continues the line for you. So when you go down to the 4 hour, again, price is in an area where there's a lot of buying pressure. A lot of buys could take place in here. We also have the moving average as well. We're retesting this area. We're in the discount zone for the buys. The trend line is still being respected. yes, we have some liquidity over here, and if these lows get swept and the price wants to come lower, these will be even better buys. Maybe you would want to target this imbalance here. Just going back to the order blocks. There's an order block here, this last selling candle before the move up. And if I go down, just to show you guys, and zoom in and on this is going to be another setup. Go down to let's see, the 1 hour real quick. Boom. You see it more broken down. Go down to 30 minutes. As you see, it's a little bit more clear. You have a low, you have a high. We sweep the lows and we break above. That's a setup. And that's like on the 30 minute. Imagine looking at this on the 15 minutes. You're probably going to see more detail. Probably looks more clear. And it does. You have a low, high, sweep, break above. That's essentially what every order block looks like when you break it down on smaller time frames. And you see more setups in here as well. Low, high, sweep, break above here, retest, a couple more retests, give a couple more setups, gone. After sweeping previous liquidity, we swept this liquidity and then gave all this accumulation here. That's good. That's what you want to see. Respecting all this over here as well. So yeah, right now we are in a good spot. We're in a good spot. We'll see what happens. In order for us to be confident, we got to break some structure. Maybe here as well. We got to break above these highs. Or, we might get something down here. But yeah, looking for something like this. Sweep, break above. That's solid. If not, we may get this down here. That's fine. Or down here. You don't know, but right now, this is a hot zone. All this is a hot zone. So we're looking for this either currently right there, lower, all this. All this, and this can be a position trade. Doesn't have to be a scalp. We can be slowly positioning ourselves, stacking 0.01s at key areas, putting buy limits, here, put one here, put one here at the sweep of the liquidity as well, right? Put one, back here at this setup, the one that we went over, that order block area. Just have your buy limits set at all these liquidity points. 0.01 under leverage, and let's say price does give you another setup right there, you do more buy limits or market execution, and then by the time you know it, you have a few positions stacked without over leveraging. So when price does finally go and attack these highs, let's say you have 10 positions, you can close out 9 positions and then leave one running, and boom, you just took profit. You close out 90%, you left one running, and now you still have your position. So as price runs, you don't get FOMO thinking you have to re-enter the market because 1, you already took profit or partials, and 2, you still have a position or 2 holding in the market. So then when price does break above and you want to enter a trade over here, now when you enter this trade, if there's drawdown on this trade, that's fine because you're still holding these previous positions. So this can hedge your new position. When you take the new position, you're not worried about drawdown even more because you already have 2-3 positions holding from the original position. That eases up emotional stress and trauma on your next trade because you're already positioned. So when you take this one, yeah, you may get some drawdown. And then let's say this one takes off. Boom, same thing. Rinse and repeat the process. And then that's essentially how you remain forever in profit. And that's what we're trying to do here, is essentially establish the next position. Keep in mind we did just break previous all-time highs. It took us about 120 days. So this is significant. We're in a significant area right now for price. Right? And now, currently, it's been 185 days. We're revisiting the same area that we broke above. So I would love to see us respect it. That's essentially what structure is. Boom, break, retest. Break, retest. That's essentially what we're looking at here. Boom. We're essentially here right now. Right, so if you want to continue the trend, boom. Solid. I know I kind of went deep on that, but you guys have any questions with Nas? I'm looking at Bitcoin right now. I know we had some questions on there. I'm personally still waiting for lower buys. I want to see this be attacked. I want to see this area be attacked. This is a setup here. Huge imbalance right there. Yeah, it looks kind of weak here too. It looks kind of weak. We'll see. I mean, technically it is in the buy zone as well. We swept these lows, broke above these highs. So now we're just looking for some type of setup here. We see that we had this imbalance. Price respected it twice. We have some structure over here that wasn't violated for the buys. Low, high, sweep, break above, retest. Boom. Once we hit these, we close out. You take partials, let some run. And then what happens? Price comes back down to your entry, but you still closed out 90%. Maybe your runners got stopped out in profit or break even, which is fine. And then now you're waiting for more of a setup to happen here. But we kind of got it. We failed to break above the highs here, so we just swept it. So that's a red flag. Red flag right there for sure. So we'll see. Maybe price wants to come lower beneath these lows, or even these lows. We'll see. I'm waiting for Bitcoin buys, not really forcing it or rushing that. XRP looks better, in my opinion. Boom. Clean retest. Super clean. So this looks better to take buys, if anything. Ethereum, same, look kind of weak. Looks like Bitcoin pretty weak. I'm not comfortable with taking position trades yet on Bitcoin or Ethereum, especially if you look at the fib settings. I don't even think we're in the discount. Boom. Barely. Right on it. Right on it. So we'll see. We'll see. I would really want to use these lows here. Yeah, a little bit lower. A little bit lower. But yeah, that's the recap. I'm just rambling on at this point. But yeah, I know some of you may have finished the market structure videos. If you have finished them, please go ahead and drop your notes in the chat. Let's make sure we all direct our questions to the chat as well. I did notice some people are texting me on the side as well. Let's keep all trading questions in the chat, because you never know, someone else may have the same question or they may have a different perspective than me. So I want to keep all trading related, conversations in the Discord, just to keep it more engaged and people feel more comfortable. And then, texting for more for like personal matters, things like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Gold, real quick. Gold is pushing back to these sell zones as well. So we'll see what happens up here. Do we break structure and hold, or do we, sweep some more liquidity and sell off once again? Maybe to some lower buy zones. We'll see. We'll see with gold. Yeah, gold looks good too. Gold looks good. We'll see what happens here. I'm very curious to see, especially at these highs. Do we sweep? Do we respect the sell structure here as well? We'll see, but we are getting bullishness. We are making higher highs and higher lows. We broke above these highs here. That's good. I know when the I think it was FOMC for gold gave a good, nice buy. Very clean. We actually broke above these highs, and then we got a nice retest. Simple. And this retest was a retest of an order block. This last selling candle. And we all know what that is. That's the setup. That's the inverted. Right, so clean entry there. Super solid. Boom, the low, the high, sweep, break above. Boom. Clean. Super clean. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I'll see you guys next time.